Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Sarah, also known as Laugh Love Langella, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing the 3 wreaths that I have DIY'd over the past couple years for spring decorating. I've also continued using them through the summer season, so this can easily translate into there. You can add in some more vibrant florals if you would like, tweak it to your liking, whatever fits your home. And I'll also be sharing some little tips that really help me put together my wreath in a fashion that makes it look really high end without breaking the bank. So we're gonna get into one of my all-time favorites. This wreath I actually DIY'd 2 years ago now, and I left it together because I just loved it so very much. It is a McGee & Co. Look for Less. Now I will be linking any stems I possibly can. If it's a Hobby Lobby one, if I know what the style number is, I will include it. Keep in mind, because some of these are older, there might not be the identical item that I use still available, but I will try to find something similar for you guys. So if you would like to recreate it yourselves, I know so many of you have over the years, but I just really have a lot of fun DIYing my own wreaths. So I will start off with this one. All supplies will be linked in the video description. I have 9-foot ceilings in my house, and my front door is 8 feet tall. And because it is so tall, I have a larger wreath than your average one to make it proportionally make sense. So just an FYI, if you have a smaller front door, shorter, maybe go for a smaller size grapevine wreath. If you want like a nice bold statement, go for the larger one, whatever fits your needs. But I hope you guys enjoy a little look back on memory lane of me making these and enjoy some of these tips if you are going to, bless you, DIY yourselves. So let's get right into this one.
So for this wreath in particular, we are starting off with a garland as our foundation rather than stems. This is a super easy, straightforward way of getting that fullness right from the start, getting full coverage across your grapevine wreath to make it that much easier for you to add in your accent pieces. This one in particular was from Hobby Lobby. It is a draping type of garland, so I did have to go through and kind of twist it around the wreath, twist it around other pieces of the garland as well, just so it wasn't hanging quite as low. Now for securing your stems or garland, my go-to is using floral wire. You could easily use hot glue if you want to make it a permanent thing, or you could also use some jute twine if you would like to be able to change things up, which is the route that I do tend to go. I like to just change things up each year, each season, and not feel committed to keeping it one particular way. But if you are looking to secure it in a permanent fashion, you live in a high-end wind area, you could easily do hot glue at the very end of the stems and insert it into the grapevine wreath. So once you have your base greenery or garland all squared away, you're going to go in with your secondary greenery pieces or your accent floral, depending on what you are looking to accomplish with your wreath. Are you trying to do a look for less? Are you trying to build your own? So I have these ficus stems that I cut into smaller pieces. They were from Hobby Lobby, and I'm also adding in some different fern ones. This wreath in particular is one of my all-time favorites because there is so much different texture happening with all of the different pieces of greenery and floral accents that are added to this wreath. But when it comes to how I lay them, I will put one more on the inside of the wreath, and then the next one will be on the outside. So you'll see I'll have one kind of more inward, and then the other one will balance it out being on the opposite. You can always go in and edit on later once you are wrapping things up, but you'll see I do the same with these floral accents as well, just trying to create as much balance as I can while still giving it a more natural appearance. Once I've added in all of my remaining floral accent pieces, I'm just going in last minute, adding in the last bits of greenery that I have, adding it where there's any gaps that I might see. But this is a finished look at how I DIY'd this wreath. Again, I did this a couple of years ago now, but still absolutely love the outcome of it.
So the next wreath that I am going to get into recapping is actually the one that I had made this year for our spring front porch styling video. This is a look for less for one from Ballard Designs that I absolutely love, but again, I didn't want to be spending that much money on something, for one, that's outside, and two, I have fun in the process of DIYing, so there's no reason for me not to give it a try. And I absolutely love the outcome of this. Again, all of the items I use will be linked in the video description, and let's get right into this one.
So my go-to is using a Grapevine wreath as my base for any wreath. You can use a foam one, but I just like that you can shove the base of the stem into the wreath itself, and it also gives it some weight to help hold it onto the door. But for my stem placement, I'm going around in the exact same direction, so that way they are overlapping each other, covering up that stem, even though I'm placing it inside the grapevine, but it gives balance to the wreath. So in a sense, you want to think of it as if it's still moving the way that a garland would. And then I'm going in with my floral wire, securing the pieces of the branch that are falling off. But it also helps, because this is going to be outside, that I don't want any birds messing around with it, pulling things out. So it does help with that and helps keep it in place where I want it to be. Next, we're going to be adding in some eucalyptus stems. These are some round dollar ones. I got these from Hobby Lobby, I believe. These are just a really great filler piece. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of switching the direction of placing one on the outer portion of the wreath and one on the inner, and making sure that I'm spacing them out in a balanced way. This ficus stem is the same one that I had used in the first wreath that I shared, but because I kept that wreath together, I did not have any of these stems to use, and I love the shape of them as well as the color variant. I think it adds a lot to a wreath. I wouldn't particularly use this in an arrangement because they do sit very flat. There's no wire in the branches themselves, but it works perfectly well for adding a greenery when it comes to a wreath. So we're just going to place these through anywhere I'm seeing too much of the grapevine wreath exposed, giving this an overall heavy greenery look. Now we are moving into adding the white roses. Now, when it comes to building a wreath, when you're adding in a singular floral, sometimes it is more budget conscious to buy a bush of stems rather than individual ones. And that was definitely the case with these roses. I don't go for the best quality faux florals when it comes to my wreaths. I don't intentionally get low quality ones, but I'm not as concerned because it's going to be outside. I'm not worried about what the greenery or the leaf looks like on this floral because I'm just taking it off anyways, and it's going to be pushed into the greenery that's already part of this wreath, concealing any part of it that I'm not thrilled about. But again, placing these, alternating inner part of the wreath, outer part of the wreath to give it a nice balanced look. So now we're going to be adding in the accent floral parts of it. We'd like to start off with our foundation, our core elements of it, and then bring in those things that really define, adding the depth necessary, adding in some contrast, color, texture. And I always love to pay attention to little delicate moments like this. And if you can't find the exact stem you're looking for, like I couldn't, find one that is super similar and cut it into smaller pieces. Make it work for what you are looking to have happen. but we added in the magenta ones, and then I found these little seeded blue accent pieces that give the perfect delicate touch. And again, I'm just going in and adding these alternating inside, outside, and filling in the gaps of where these other bold moments are happening. And here is a finished look at the second wreath that I am sharing in today's video. Again, this is the one that I had done this year, 2025, and it is on my front porch right now as I'm recording this. I love the texture. I love that it gives a bold but still delicate statement on our front porch and can easily translate well into the summer months too. So finishing up in today's video, the last wreath I will be sharing and recapping is the one that I had done last year for our front porch. This is another McGee & Co. Look for Less. It is very understated, very simplistic and neutral. So if you are a neutral loving gal, this is definitely a great option. Or if you're somebody that is new into making their own wreaths, maybe a little bit intimidated by the process, this is a really great foundation to start off with, and you can easily build upon it, adding in your favorite floral stem, adding in a pop of color, whatever pairs well with your home and what you love. This is great to build off of. These stems are the same as the second wreath that I shared today because I saved them from using them last year. So that's why I really like to go with the floral wire option, because then I can repurpose them, make them into a different wreath, add them to a garland. There's so many options with it, but again, we're adding in those dollar eucalyptus stems, alternating the inner outer, but putting them in between the lawn leaf eucalyptus ones to make sure that we have a balanced level of greenery going throughout the entire wreath. Our second to last touch for this wreath is adding in these delicate white floral little seeded type stems. I found these at Michael's last year. They did have some similar options available this year, and they do come in other colors too, which is really great. But like I had said, this is a very neutral wreath. I did want to add a little bit more texture, just like the McGee & Co. one had, and they had some twig stems, but the twig stems that I had were very gray in color, so I just took some paint that I had on hand, gave them a little brown coat to give that much more of a realistic twig type of look. And here is a finished look at how this wreath came out. Again, it's super simplistic and neutral, but still has a lot of texture and depth to it, but you can easily build off of it if you are looking to add your own spin on it and make it you. I sure hope that you enjoyed tagging along on recapping the 3 spring wreaths that I have done and are able to take some of the tips that I mentioned in today's video to help you make your own too.
So that is going to wrap up today's video, friends. I sure hope you enjoyed taking a look back at some of the wreaths I have DIY'd for the spring and summer seasons. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite is. If you have recreated any of these yourselves, I would love to hear about it. And as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me here today, friends, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!